The vast emptiness of space suddenly came alive with a burst of light. A sleek, silver spacecraft emerged from hyperspace, its hull gleaming under the distant starlight. This was the Stellar Seeker, the pride of the Galactic Empire's scout fleet. Its mission: to explore the outer reaches of the galaxy and find new civilizations to bring under the Empire's control. Captain Zorn, a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms, stood on the bridge. His large, compound eyes scanned the various screens around him. "Report," he commanded, his voice a low rumble. A younger alien, green-skinned with antennae, responded quickly. "Captain, we've entered a new star system. Initial scans show 8 planets orbiting a yellow dwarf star." Zorn nodded, his interest piqued. Any signs of life? The crew worked frantically, analyzing data as it poured in. After a few moments, the green alien spoke again. "Sir, we're detecting radio signals from the 3rd planet. It appears to be inhabited." A wave of excitement swept through the bridge. New civilizations were rare finds these days. The Empire had conquered most of the known galaxy, and undiscovered worlds were becoming scarce. "Set a course for the 3rd planet," Zorn ordered. "Let's see what we're dealing with." As the Stellar Seeker approached the blue and green world, more data flooded their systems. The planet was teeming with life, its surface dotted with sprawling cities and crisscrossed by roads and railways. "Primitive," Zorn muttered, watching video feeds of the planet's inhabitants. These creatures, called humans, seemed to be the dominant species. They traveled in wheeled vehicles, communicated with handheld devices, and had only recently begun exploring their own solar system. "This should be an easy conquest for the Empire," Zorn said, a smug smile on his face. "Prepare a report for." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. The main screen flashed red, displaying a warning message. "Captain," the green alien shouted, panic in his voice, "we're detecting a massive energy surge from the planet's moon." Before Zorn could respond, the dark side of the moon lit up. A massive hangar door opened, revealing a sight that made every alien on the bridge gasp in shock. A fleet of ships emerged from the moon, each one larger and more advanced than the Stellar Seeker. Their sleek designs and pulsing energy signatures spoke of technology far beyond what the Empire possessed. "Impossible," Zorn whispered, his 4 hands gripping the command console tightly. The Earth ships moved with incredible speed and precision, quickly surrounding the Stellar Seeker. A communication request flashed on their screen. With shaking hands, Zorn accepted the call. A human face appeared on the screen, wearing a uniform adorned with strange symbols. "Greetings, visitors," the human said, a hint of amusement in their voice. "Welcome to Earth. We've been expecting you." Zorn's mind raced. How could this primitive world have such advanced technology? How had they hidden it so well? And most importantly, what did this mean for the Galactic Empire? As the human continued to speak, explaining that Earth had long known about the wider galaxy and had prepared accordingly, Zorn realized that everything was about to change. The Empire's easy conquest had turned into something far more complex and dangerous. The discovery was made. Earth was not what it seemed, and the galaxy would never be the same again. As the Stellar Seeker floated, surrounded by Earth's hidden fleet, Zorn knew he had to report this to the Empire immediately. But a part of him wondered if it was already too late. The balance of power had shifted, and humanity, it seemed, held all the cards. The game had changed, and the Galactic Empire found itself in unfamiliar territory, that of the underdog. The tension on the bridge of the Stellar Seeker was thick enough to cut with a knife. Captain Zorn stood frozen, his 4 arms hanging limply at his sides as he stared at the human face on the screen before him. "I believe introductions are in order," the human said, a slight smile playing on their lips. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet." "And you are?" Zorn swallowed hard, his throat suddenly dry. I am Captain Zorn of the Galactic Empire scout ship Stellar Seeker." Admiral Chen nodded, Well, Captain Zorn, I'm sure you have many questions. Why don't you join us on our flagship? We have much to discuss. Before Zorn could respond, a beam of light enveloped him. In the blink of an eye, he found himself standing in a vast, gleaming room. The technology around him was like nothing he had ever seen before. A door slid open, and Admiral Chen walked in, followed by a group of humans in various uniforms. "Welcome aboard the EDF Prometheus, Captain," she said. Zorn's mind was reeling. How? How is this possible? Your world seemed so primitive. Chen chuckled. "Appearances can be deceiving, Captain. We've known about the wider galaxy for centuries. We chose to keep our true capabilities hidden, to protect ourselves and prepare for this very moment." As they walked through the ship, Chen explained Earth's history. Long ago, a damaged alien ship had crashed on Earth. From it, humans learned of the Galactic Empire and its conquering ways. They salvaged what they could from the ship and reverse-engineered its technology. "But we knew we needed more than just advanced tech," Chen continued. "We needed time to build our forces and strengthen our resolve. So we created the illusion of a primitive world, all while preparing for the day the Empire would come knocking." They entered a large conference room where holographic displays showed the Earth, its hidden fleet, and the surrounding space. Zorn was awestruck by the scale of Earth's deception and preparation. "But why reveal yourselves now?" Zorn asked, his curiosity overcoming his fear. Chen's expression turned serious. "Because it's time. The galaxy needs change, Captain. The Empire's reign of conquest and oppression must end." She waved her hand, and the holographic display changed, showing images of worlds under Imperial rule. Zorn saw suffering and hardship he had never been aware of before. "We've been watching, gathering intelligence," Chen explained. "We've seen the toll the Empire's rule has taken on countless civilizations. It's time for a new order, one based on cooperation and mutual respect." Zorn felt a mix of emotions: shock at the revelations, shame at his own ignorance, and a growing sense of doubt about everything he had believed in. What happens now?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chen's expression softened slightly. "That depends on you, Captain. We're offering you a choice. You can return to your empire and report what you've seen here. Or," she paused, letting the weight of her words sink in, "or you can join us. Help us bring about a change that the galaxy desperately needs." Zorn looked around the room, at the determined faces of the humans, at the incredible technology that surrounded him. He thought about his life in the Empire, about the worlds he had helped scout for conquest. For the first time in his life, Captain Zorn of the Galactic Empire felt the stirring of rebellion in his heart. I need time to think," he said finally. Chen nodded. "Of course. But remember, Captain, time is a luxury the rest of the galaxy doesn't have. Every moment we delay, more worlds suffer under Imperial rule." As Zorn was led to quarters to rest and consider his decision, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was standing at a crossroads of history. The choice he would make could change the fate of the entire galaxy. And as the Earth's hidden fleet hung in space, poised and ready, the first ripples of a coming storm began to spread across the stars. The Galactic Empire's time of reckoning had begun, and humanity was leading the charge. The vast emptiness of space was shattered by the sudden appearance of a massive fleet. Hundreds of Galactic Empire ships blinked into existence, their sleek forms gleaming in the light of Earth's sun. At their center was the Imperator, the flagship of the Empire, a behemoth that dwarfed all other vessels. On the bridge of the Imperator stood Grand Admiral Psylocke, his tentacles twitching with barely contained rage. His compound eyes focused on the blue and green planet before him, and the surprisingly formidable fleet that protected it. "Status report," Psylocke demanded, his voice a low hiss. A subordinate officer quickly responded. "Sir, we've detected the Stellar Seeker. It appears to be docked with one of the Earth vessels. No signs of distress or combat damage." Psylocke's tentacles curled in frustration. Captain Zorn's report had been vague and hurried, speaking of a civilization far more advanced than initial scans had suggested. The Grand Admiral had hoped it was an exaggeration. Now, faced with Earth's impressive fleet, he realized Zorn's words had been all too true. "Open a communication channel," Xylox ordered. Moments later, Admiral Sarah Chen's face appeared on the main view screen. Her expression was calm, but her eyes held a steely determination. "This is Grand Admiral Xylox of the Galactic Empire," Xylox began, trying to keep his voice steady. "You will surrender your planet and fleet immediately, or face the consequences." Chen's lips curved into a small smile. "I'm afraid we must decline your generous offer, Grand Admiral. Earth and its people have no intention of surrendering to anyone." Xylox's tentacles lashed out in anger, knocking over a nearby console. "You fool! Do you not see the power of the fleet before you? We will crush your pathetic defenses and—" His words were cut short as alarms blared throughout the Imperator. On the tactical display, dozens of new contacts suddenly appeared, materializing from what seemed to be thin air. "Impossible," Xylox whispered, his eyes wide with shock. Chen's smile grew wider. "You seem surprised, Grand Admiral. Did you really think we'd show all our cards at once? What you see before you is merely a fraction of Earth's true strength." As if to emphasize her point, several of the newly appeared Earth ships began to move. They weaved through the Empire's formation with impossible speed and precision, their advanced propulsion systems leaving trails of blue energy in their wake. Xylox watched in horror as these ships effortlessly disabled several Imperial vessels, their weapons cutting through the Empire's most advanced shields like they weren't even there. "This is your final warning," Chen said, her voice now hard as steel. "Withdraw your fleet immediately, or we will be forced to take more drastic action." For the first time in his long career, Grand Admiral Xylox felt fear. The technology displayed by the Earth fleet was beyond anything the Empire had ever encountered. If this truly was only a fraction of their strength. You can't do this," Xylox stammered, his usual confidence shattered. "The Empire has ruled the galaxy for millennia. We cannot be defeated by a single backward world." Chen's expression softened slightly. "It's not about defeating you, Grand Admiral. It's about changing the status quo. The galaxy deserves better than the Empire's tyranny. We're offering a chance for peace, for cooperation. Don't throw it away out of pride or fear." As Xylox struggled with the decision before him, movement caught his eye. The Stellar Seeker was detaching from the Earth vessel it had been docked with. It slowly made its way towards the Imperial fleet. Captain Zorn's face appeared on a secondary screen. "Grand Admiral," he said, his voice firm. "I've seen what Earth has to offer. I've learned the truth about our empire. I urge you, for the sake of all our people, stand down." Xylox looked from Zorn to Chen, then to the tactical display showing his outmatched fleet. In that moment, he realized that everything was about to change. The Galactic Empire, which had seemed invincible for so long, was facing its greatest challenge. And as the standoff continued, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, with Earth and its hidden fleet standing firm against the once mighty Empire. The tense standoff between the Earth fleet and the Galactic Empire forces stretched on. Grand Admiral Xylox, his tentacles now limp with worry, paced the bridge of the Imperator. The silence was broken by a junior officer. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's being broadcast to every ship in our fleet." Before Xylox could respond, the main view screen lit up. The face that appeared wasn't Admiral Chen's, but an older human male with gray hair and kind eyes. "Greetings, people of the Galactic Empire. I am Dr. Alan Morrison, Chief Scientist of Earth's Defense Program. I believe it's time we explained ourselves." The screen split, showing Dr. Morrison on one side and a series of images on the other. The images showed Earth's history, starting from ancient times. "Thousands of years ago," Morrison began, "a ship crashed on our planet. Its pilot, mortally wounded, warned us of the Empire's existence and its conquering ways. This event changed the course of our history. The images shifted, showing humans working on alien technology, making breakthroughs, and advancing rapidly. We reverse-engineered the ship's technology, but we knew it wasn't enough. We needed something more, something uniquely human. The next set of images showed laboratories, complex equations, and strange, shimmering devices. We discovered that the human mind, when properly trained, could interact with the quantum fabric of the universe in ways we never imagined. We called it the quantum harmony effect. On the Imperator's bridge, Tylox and his crew watched in fascination. Even Captain Zorn, viewing from the Stellar Seeker, leaned forward in his seat. Morrison continued, "This effect allowed us to create technology beyond anything the galaxy had seen. Shields that could predict attacks before they happened. Engines that could fold space itself. Weapons that could disable without destroying. The screen showed Earth's hidden bases, vast underground cities, and orbital shipyards, all filled with advanced technology. But our greatest achievement was our mastery of quantum camouflage. We hid not just our technology, but the very thoughts of our entire species. To the outside universe, we appeared primitive, unaware, and harmless." Psylocke's tentacles twitched in disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "No species could advance so quickly." As if hearing him, Morrison smiled. "We had motivation, Grand Admiral. The threat of imperial conquest drove us to incredible feats. Every human on Earth knew the stakes. We poured all our resources, all our creativity, into preparing for this day." The images changed again, showing Earth's fleet emerging from hidden bases on the Moon, under the oceans, and from within hollowed-out asteroids. "We could have conquered the galaxy ourselves," Morrison said, his voice turning somber. "But that's not our way. We chose to wait, to prepare, to be ready to stand against tyranny when the time came." On the Stellar Seeker, Captain Zorn felt a mix of awe and shame. He turned to his crew, seeing the same emotions reflected in their alien faces. Back on the Imperator, Psylocke slumped in his command chair. The implications were staggering. If humans could do this, what else were they capable of? Morrison's face now filled the entire screen. "We don't want war, Grand Admiral. We want peace. We want cooperation. We want a galaxy where all species can thrive together. The Empire's way of conquest and subjugation must end." He paused, letting his words sink in. "The choice is yours. Continue this path of conflict, or join us in building a better future for all." As Morrison's transmission ended, silence fell across both fleets. On every ship, beings of all species contemplated what they had learned. The humans, this seemingly primitive race, had outsmarted and outmaneuvered the mighty Galactic Empire. Grand Admiral Psylocke stared at the Earth fleet, its ships now seeming even more formidable. He knew that his next decision would shape the fate of the galaxy. The secret was out. Earth's incredible journey was unveiled. And now, the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The revelation of Earth's true capabilities sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. As news spread, the response was immediate and dramatic. Across countless worlds, the balance of power began to shift. On the planet Xerax, a world long oppressed by the Empire, the native Xeraxians gathered in their underground meeting halls. Their leader, Kralthax, addressed the excited crowd. "Brothers and sisters," Kralthax said, his voice echoing off the cavern walls. "For generations, we have lived in fear of the Empire. But now, a new hope has emerged. Earth, a planet we had never heard of, has stood up to our oppressors." The crowd cheered, their tentacles waving in excitement. Kralthax continued, "I say it's time we too stood up. Time we reached out to these humans and joined their cause." Meanwhile, on the Galactic Empire's capital world, Imperius Prime, the ruling council was in chaos. Emperor Zorn Xi, a descendant of the Empire's founder, sat on his ornate throne, listening to the frantic reports of his advisors. "Your Majesty," one advisor said, his voice trembling, "we're receiving messages from a dozen systems. They're declaring independence." Another advisor chimed in. "Our spies report that Earth representatives are already making contact with various worlds. They're offering technology, protection, an alternative to our rule." Emperor Zorn Xi's face darkened with rage. "This is unacceptable. We've ruled this galaxy for millennia. We will not be undone by some upstart human world." But even as he spoke, the Emperor knew that things were spiraling out of control. The Empire's iron grip on the galaxy was slipping. Back in Earth's solar system, Admiral Sarah Chen was busy coordinating Earth's next moves. On the bridge of the EDF Prometheus, she was in a video conference with leaders from various alien worlds. "We understand your concerns," Chen said, addressing a group of reptilian aliens. "Earth has no desire to replace the Empire as galactic conquerors. We seek partnership, not domination." One of the alien leaders, his scales shimmering, replied, "But how can we trust you? How do we know you won't turn on us once the Empire is defeated?" Chen smiled warmly. "A fair question. That's why we're proposing the formation of a galactic alliance, a democratic union where all member worlds have an equal voice. Earth would be just one member among many." The idea of the Galactic Alliance spread quickly, capturing the imagination of oppressed species across the stars. Many saw it as a chance for true freedom and cooperation. On the Imperator, Grand Admiral Tylox watched helplessly as more and more ships deserted the Imperial fleet. Captain Zorn, now openly supporting Earth, had convinced many to switch sides. "Sir," a loyal officer reported, "we've lost contact with the 7th and 9th fleets. It seems they've defected to the humans." Tylox's tentacles drooped in defeat. He realized that the Empire's days of unchallenged rule were over. The Admiral made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Open a channel to the Earth fleet," he ordered. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the screen, a look of surprise on her features. "Admiral Chen," Tylox said, his voice heavy, "on behalf of the ships under my command, I wish to negotiate terms of surrender." Chen nodded solemnly. "We accept, Grand Admiral. Let's work together to ensure a peaceful transition." As news of the Imperator's surrender spread, celebrations erupted on countless worlds. The age of imperial rule was ending, and a new era of cooperation was beginning. On Earth, Dr. Alan Morrison watched the galactic events unfold with a mix of pride and apprehension. Humanity had achieved its goal of stopping the Empire. But the real challenge lay ahead. Building a fair and just galactic society would be no easy task. As the power shifted across the stars, one thing was clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. And humanity, once hidden and unknown, now stood at the center of this monumental change. The great hall of the newly constructed Galactic Alliance headquarters buzzed with excitement. Representatives from hundreds of alien species filled the room, their diverse forms creating a living tapestry of galactic life. At the center of it all stood Admiral Sarah Chen, now serving as Earth's primary diplomat. Chen took a deep breath, her eyes scanning the crowd. This was the moment Earth had prepared for over centuries. She stepped up to the podium, and a hush fell over the assembly. "Friends, allies, citizens of the galaxy," Chen began, her voice calm but filled with passion. "Today marks the beginning of a new era, an era of cooperation, of shared progress, and of peace." As Chen spoke, holographic displays activated around the hall, showing images of Earth's advanced technology. Gasps of awe echoed through the crowd. Earth pledges to share its knowledge and resources with all members of the Alliance. Chen continued, "Our quantum harmony technology will be adapted to suit the unique biology of each species. Together, we will solve the greatest challenges facing our galaxy." In the front row, former Grand Admiral Tylox watched with a mix of admiration and regret. His tentacles twitched as he pondered how different things might have been if the Empire had chosen cooperation over conquest. Chen's speech was interrupted by a commotion at the back of the hall. A group of beings pushed their way forward. The last loyalists of the fallen empire. Their leader, a scared warrior named Krazak, pointed an accusing finger at Chen. "Lies," Krazak shouted. "You humans claim to want peace, but you've merely replaced one empire with another. You'll enslave us all with your advanced technology." The hall erupted in murmurs of concern. Chen raised her hands, calling for calm. But before she could speak, an unexpected voice rang out. "You're wrong, Krazak," said Captain Zorn, stepping forward. The former Imperial officer looked at Chen, who nodded for him to continue. Zorn addressed the assembly, his voice firm. "I once believed as you did. I served the Empire faithfully. But I've seen the truth of Earth's intentions. They could have conquered us all, but instead, they offer us a hand in friendship." As Zorn spoke, more former Imperial officers stood up, voicing their support. Krazak and his followers found themselves surrounded by beings of all species, united in their desire for peace. Seeing the change in the room, Chen smiled and continued her speech. "We understand your fears. Change is never easy. But let me show you the future we can build together." With a wave of her hand, Chen activated a new holographic display. It showed a vision of the galaxy transformed, planets restored from imperial exploitation, new technology solving age-old problems, and species once at war now working side by side. "This is not just humanity's triumph," Chen said, her voice filled with emotion. "This is a triumph for all of us. Every world, every species, every individual in this vast galaxy." As the vision faded, the hall was silent for a moment. Then, slowly, applause began to build. It grew louder and louder until the very walls seemed to shake with the sound of hundreds of species cheering as one. Even Krazak and his followers were moved. The scared warrior stepped forward, his head bowed. Perhaps we were too hasty in our judgment. We would like to learn more about this alliance." Chen stepped down from the podium and walked to Krazak, extending her hand. "You are welcome to join us. All are welcome here." As Krazak took Chen's hand, the cheers grew even louder. It was a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. The moment when the galaxy truly united. In Earth's orbital station, Dr. Alan Morrison watched the proceedings with tears in his eyes. Humanity's long preparation, their centuries of hiding and developing in secret, had paid off. They had not only saved themselves from imperial rule, but had ushered in a new age of galactic peace and cooperation. As the celebration in the Great Hall continued, ships from hundreds of worlds gathered in space above. Their lights twinkled like stars, a symbol of the bright future that lay ahead for all species of the galaxy. Humanity had triumphed, not through force, but through wisdom, preparation, and the willingness to extend a hand in friendship to all. 5 years had passed since the formation of the Galactic Alliance. The galaxy, once divided and oppressed under imperial rule, was flourishing in an unprecedented era of peace and progress. On the planet Nexus, a newly constructed world at the heart of the galaxy, the Galactic Alliance's capital city gleamed under the light of twin suns. Its architecture was a harmonious blend of styles from 1,000 worlds, a physical representation of the cooperation that now defined galactic society. In the Grand Council chamber, leaders from across the galaxy gathered for a historic session. At the center of the chamber stood a familiar face. Dr. Alan Morrison, now serving as the president of the Galactic Alliance. Morrison, his hair now completely white, but his eyes still bright with purpose, called the session to order. "Friends, colleagues, citizens of the galaxy," he began, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast room. "We gather today to celebrate our achievements and to look to the future." Holographic displays activated, showing images from across the galaxy. Planets once stripped bare by imperial mining were now lush and green. Species on the brink of extinction were thriving once more. And in the depths of space, joint research teams from dozens of worlds worked together on projects once thought impossible. 5 years ago, Morrison continued, we made a promise to build a better galaxy for all. Today, I am proud to say we have kept that promise. In the audience, Admiral Sarah Chen smiled. She thought back to the tense standoff with the Imperial fleet that seemed so long ago now. How far they had come since then. Morrison's voice brought her attention back to the present. But our work is not done. Today, we embark on our most ambitious project yet. With a wave of his hand, Morrison activated a new hologram. It showed a massive structure floating in space, a ring-shaped megastructure that dwarfed even the largest space stations. I present to you the Harmony Ring, Morrison announced, a joint effort of every member world of the Alliance. This station will serve as a neutral ground for all species, a place of learning, of cultural exchange, and of scientific advancement. Excited murmurs filled the chamber. Even Chen, who had been briefed on the project, felt a sense of awe at its scale and ambition. As Morrison continued to explain the details of the Harmony Ring, the camera panned across the faces in the audience. There was former Grand Admiral Psylocke, now serving as a valued advisor on Imperial reconstruction efforts. Next to him sat Krazak, once an Imperial loyalist, now a passionate advocate for galactic cooperation. In another section of the chamber, Captain Zorn watched with pride. He had come a long way from being an Imperial scout captain. Now he led the Galactic Alliance's diplomatic court, using his experience to help former Imperial worlds transition into the new galactic order. As Morrison's speech concluded, he made one final announcement. And now, to symbolize our commitment to this new era, we will activate the Quantum Harmony Network. Chen stood up, joining Morrison at the center of the chamber. Together, they placed their hands on a glowing orb. Energy pulsed through the orb, and suddenly, every being in the chamber felt a warm, comforting presence in their minds. This network, Chen explained, built on Earth's quantum harmony technology, will allow instant, galaxy-wide communication. But more than that, it will allow us to share feelings, ideas, and experiences across the vastness of space. It will bring us closer together than ever before. As the Quantum Harmony Network hummed to life, beings across the galaxy felt its effects. Borders and distances became meaningless as a new level of understanding dawned. In orbit around Nexus, ships from 100 worlds gathered to watch the Harmony Ring's construction begin. Among them was the EDF Prometheus, the ship that had once stood against the entire Imperial fleet. Now it served as a symbol of how far they had come. On its bridge, a group of cadets, human and alien alike, listened as Chen shared stories of the old days, of Earth's long preparation, of the revolution that changed the galaxy, and of the bright future that lay ahead. As Chen spoke, she looked out at the stars. The galaxy had changed beyond recognition in just a few short years, and yet she knew this was only the beginning. With the combined strength, wisdom, and creativity of countless species working together, there was no limit to what they could achieve. The age of empires was over. The age of harmony had begun, and humanity, once hidden and unknown, now stood proud as the architects of this new galactic order.